What's up, guys? Man, again, I'm coming to you uh, on the verge of maybe losing my voice. I didn't lose my voice last night, but just to be safe, and I'm drinking out of the same glass as I did last night. Add you up. uh, well, I just came home from the Seattle Thunderbirds Everett Silvertips playoff game. Game two, it wasn't Everett. Got a chance to go to game one and two. And unfortunately, like that's for me, that's likely going to be it for playoff games this year, unless the T-Birds get to the Western Hockey League Finals. Um, I just got a lot going on, but that being said, there's actually a bar down the street from my apartment that broadcasts WHL games, so I have that option, or I got the radio broadcast, and I will be watching those games, and I will be or listening to them at worst. I actually like listening to T-Bird games. I grew up with that when I was a kid before I went away to Ellensburg to go to school. All right, well, let's get started to game two recap. It was a little bit of what I expected. I expected the Everett Silvertips to come out and punch the Seattle Thunderbirds in the mouth, and that's exactly what they did. And I went with my buddy Canuck, also my buddy Carl. Sometimes I'll address him as Hans, and his girlfriend Melanie. And I told Canuck that your goal, the goal that you were searching for in game one, was coming. It was gonna come, and it came at 3 minutes and 51 seconds into the first period. It's Carson Stadnik. Again, I hope I pronounced that correctly. By the way, Canuck, thank you very much for correcting me in terms of how to pronounce some of your team's names. I can see you got a couple Russians and foreign players on your team. Like, for example, I said Nicholson or Nicolison. Is actually, I hope I pronounced it correctly, Nicolishin. I've been Nicolishin. So hopefully I pronounced that correctly. So I know you got a kick out of that in my last recap. Anyway, so basically the Silvertips just came out and they outshot. Actually, it was pretty even for the first period. Shots were even at 2-2. The second shot, actually the third shot, I should say, goes in as the Silvertips had. It was even strength, and they had the puck down low as Braden Lowe took a shot, and Seattle's goaltender Teron Kozin made the save, but left the net wide open for Carson Stadnik, and therefore Everett ended up getting that first goal and continued to play solid throughout the first period. I really thought the Silvertips played well. Seattle started to wake up toward the end where they got a couple shots on goal, but overall Everett dominated the first period, outshot Seattle 9-5. And this is the first time that my buddy Canuck and I have gone to a Seattle Everett game, and the team who scores first hasn't won. So Canuck, you won the beer bet, which I give you congrats, but unfortunately you didn't win the game. As 5 minutes into the second period, it was on a 5-on-3. It was actually kind of a deja vu, just vice versa for both teams, because Everett got a 5-on-3 goal last night in game one and cut the lead in half. It was their only goal. Well, the T-Birds got a 5-on-3 after Everett took a couple of penalties. They took a roughing and a cross-checking. They took a tripping and a cross-checking penalty in the span of about a minute and a half, and so it was 5-on-3. And Robert Litzberg from the T-Birds scores his first goal of the playoffs. Assists come from Adam Henry and Shea Theodore. So that's Shea Theodore's second point of the season. Second point of the playoffs. And then the T-Birds, I would say, won the half of that period because they caught up to Everett in terms of shots on goal, and then Everett just kind of woke up and Man, Taron Kozin, I mean, I'll talk more about this later, but he had another solid game. I mean, there was one save that he made where he was down, he was out of the play, and basically he was laying on his stomach, and he took a shot, and I mean, there was nothing in between him and the Silvertip player on the rebound. They took a shot, and all he did was take out his take out his glove arm and went like this, knocked the puck down, and covered it up. I mean, the Tips could have had, I want to say, maybe 3 goals with that save, and they also hit a couple posts in this game. So the score was tied 1-1 after 2 periods. Everett outshot Seattle again, 11-6, bringing the totals to 20-11 at that point. And then even strength, about 3 minutes into the second period. Draft pick by the Dallas Stars, Brandon Truk from Seattle scores his first career playoff goal. He missed the playoffs last year. He missed the playoffs last year because of an injury. So he got his first career goal. Just basically went in, got a small breakaway. He had a defenseman on him. He was able to wrap around the defenseman and get the puck behind Austin Lotz, the Everett goaltender. That proved out to be the game winner. Seattle got another goal later in the period over a quote-unquote controversial call, which I don't see anything controversial about it. Basically, what I saw was that the T-Birds drew a penalty, and then after that, right after they drew the penalty and they called the play dead, Everett knocked a T-Bird down and caused it to be a 4-on-4 situation for a while. So the call was embellishment against Zane Jones for Everett, and Robert Litzberg. The first score for Seattle was the cross-checking. There was, you can tell that definitely irritated Everett Silvertip fans, but frankly, I don't see anything controversial thing about it. I saw an opportunity for Everett, and the player decided to knock a T-Bird down. So that led to a 4-on-4, and the T-Birds were the one that took advantage of it. And if also, again, as I said on Facebook to Canuck, again, they scored 4-on-4. I mean, it's not like Seattle had a power play and they had a man advantage over that call. I mean, they still had to score even strength. There's no advantage to 4-on-4 other than there's more ice. I mean, I never had the opportunity. I never had opportunity to score on that power play too, I'm sure. So, like I said, there's nothing controversial and there's nothing wrong with that call. Everett had an opportunity to go in the power play and they didn't because they took a stupid penalty. So that's basically all I have to say about that. So things got a little dicey. As Seattle did the same thing as they did in Game 3. They almost outshot Everett, or at least tied Everett in shots. They had 5, Everett had 7. But they went with their defense. And their defense is what's winning games right now and stealing these games from the Silvertips. Because the Silvertips, in some regards, are outplaying the Thunderbirds. Because I can't remember the exact stat, but in this series, I know Everett has, Everett has 68 shots compared to, I want to say Seattle has 31 or 34 or something like that. So we definitely have a 2-for-1 ratio, and Seattle is getting away with a lot of silly penalties and this attack because their goaltender, Taron Kozin, is on fire right now. That's the reason why we're winning the series at this time, which I understand could end at any time. So the final score was 3-1 in favor of Seattle. Seattle takes a 2-0 lead, best-of-7 series. Just some other stats. Everett outshot Seattle 27-16 for the game. On the power play, Seattle was 1-for-4 compared to Everett's 0-for-5. An improvement for Everett on the defensive side. Seattle had 4 chances on the power play in Game 1, and they got 2 goals. And then they also had 4 power play opportunities, and they only had 1 goal. So that area is improving. The series is getting a little bit chippy. We're seeing a little bit more penalties. We're seeing a little bit more scuffles. I mean, there was one where this was just funny. It was a T-Bird and Silvertip player. I forgot who it was. I think it was Evan Wardley for Seattle. I forgot who it was for for Everett. But basically, they got in a tangle, and the T-Bird tried to walk over him, and it looked like the Silvertip was trying to, push, just push him off him. It was kind of funny. But definitely, it's getting a little chippy out there, getting a little dicey, a little bit more physical. You can definitely tell that there is some trash talking going on. You could read some lips from where I was sitting. As far as goaltending goes, Austin Lotz stops 13 of 16 shots. His record now is 0-2 in this year's playoffs. Taran Kozin stops 26 of 27 shots. His record now in this postseason is 2-0. So the T-Birds end up taking a 2 games to none lead over the Silvertips heading into Game 3, which will be on Tuesday at Showware Center in Kent, Washington. I would say this. After the first 2 games, I wasn't expecting neither team to be up 2 games to none. So this is very, very big. It's a very critical game for the Silvertips. I can't celebrate that. If the T-Birds end up going up 3-0, I can't celebrate because we went up 3 games to none last year and then blew a 3-0 lead and lost in 7 games. So, and that hurt. Man, that hurt. But defensively, I think the T-Birds are starting to find their rhythm. They're starting to crash the boards a little bit more. They're starting to go rush out for the loose pucks in their zone. Thing is, they need to get more shots. I mean, if they really do need to get more shots, and they need to take some of the pressure off of Kozin, because I'm not saying the T-Birds are going to win this series. Again, I think this series is just getting started. I mean, it's just a matter of time when Everett wakes up and gets that 5-4 goal game. I mean, it's coming. And if they keep playing the way they are, it's coming. But the T-Birds, they need to crash the boards a little bit better. They need to get the loose pucks. They also, when it's even strength, they need to take advantage they need to set up plays in the offensive zone. Now, it's cool that we are able to take advantage of our power play at this time of the season. Again, our power play is very streaky. That's good. That is very, very good. But we can't depend on fast breaks. We can't depend on the other team making mistakes. And right now, Everett, I mean, they're a couple of crossbars away from me still being in Everett and watching an overtime game. I mean, I'm happy we're winning. Don't get me wrong. But I also want to keep my head on my shoulders and not get ahead of myself, because it only takes one. It only takes one little bounce or one goal or one hit to swing this series. To swing a hockey series. I mean, you see it all the time. And again, there's no home ice advantage. I mean, there was a good turnout. It wasn't a sellout. I thought it was going to be a sellout in Everett. I mean, and also we had Everett fans in Showware on Saturday night saying, "Oh yeah, it's going to be a sellout. We're going to be rocking the place," and that was not the case. But I mean, there was a good following of T-Birds and a good following of Everett fans. So I mean, like I said, there's no home ice advantage. So Game 2 will be on Tuesday night. I will be moving away from the quote-unquote controversial calls. And by the way, if you're watching this, that's not directed towards you. I heard that throughout the entire night with hockey fans. So that's not directed towards you. But anyway, I really hope that we can move on from these calls and just focus on Game 3, because we won. This recap is over. I'm on to Game 3. I'm not thinking Game 4 yet. I'm on to Game 3. I'm gonna try to watch Game 3 in a bar down the street, and I'm hoping to. If not, I'll definitely be listening on the radio. So you'll hear it from me on Tuesday. Go T-Birds! Nice to be up 2-0. We got a lot of work. We have to take it one game at a time. I feel like I'm the only sports fan that can do that. Anyway. All right. Well, I'm gonna rest my voice. I gotta get ready to go to work tomorrow. So I'll talk to you later. And go Birds! Again, the T-Birds win Game 2, 3-1, and have a 2-0 lead against the best of 7 series against Everett. Game 3 on Tuesday, 7:00 p.m. at Showware Center in Kent. Talk to you later. Go Birds!